contextual factors will really inform the potential factors that impact the outcome of the project. And also at the same time, what we are going to engage in is based on those understanding about the program, really contextualize the outcomes assessment to unique program settings. So those understandings about the contextual factors would inform the consulting by John in doing outcomes assessment. The outcomes assessment approach that we are taking is called utilization focused outcomes assessment, and the principles are listed in the middle box over there. Basically what it is that actively engage intended users in planning, implementing, using assessment, as well as the principle that we follow is intended use for intended users. And that should guide all the way through designing outcomes assessment as well as using outcomes assessment. And also we have to pay attention to the utility, the feasibility, propriety, the ethicalness, appropriacy, and accuracy of outcomes assessment when implementing. Another thing is that we have to continually really communicate outcomes assessment activities and as well as findings to stakeholders so that the process itself is transparent, everyone is informed, people know what's going on in terms of assessment in the program and whatnot. Also acknowledging that looking at student learning is really multidimensional, and we have to really triangulate views and ways to uncover student learning to the most feasible, in a most feasible way and to the extent possible. We also have to, in terms of methodologies, we have to be really explicit and intentional about how to adopt or adapt or creating assessment tools. So not simply just boring tools, but have a rationale of why we are using that tool for what purposes. Also, by anticipating issues and findings, you'll probably be not surprised about the findings. And so, a priori, thinking about the issues that may come in terms of using the findings would probably make you feel more comfortable about what to expect. Finally, another principle is that we want to create space and time to reflect on the ways to go about outcomes assessment so that we evaluate the process on our own and then improve the assessment practices. Okay, so in order to do those and in order to really implement this outcomes assessment, the way we are going to facilitate the process is that we are going to have like departmental planning meetings during our stay here. Also, we'll have a lot of virtual consultations. I'm going to facilitate in terms of asking some reflective questions to see how assessment practices are going on in your department. We'll also provide a lot of online resources according to your needs, and so that you will learn about outcomes assessment on the way. The intended potential impact is that there's a lot of learning through assessment. By engaging in assessment, you'll probably learn a lot of things along the way. At the same time, by producing and learning from the data, there will be a lot of, potentially a lot of program changes that might occur. So I have listed potential impact that we may see, and these are the type of impacts at the bottom of the two boxes are the type of impacts that we often see in foreign language programs in being engaged in outcomes assessment. So those are the potential intended positive impact that we may see as a result of the whole entire 2-year project. So most of all, finally, what we really hope to do is that I hope together we make a difference in terms of how to go about outcomes assessment in the humanities and create some kind of a model together that we can really disseminate and talk to the humanities in other colleges and universities.
Well, thank you again to our panelists, John, Peter, Yukiko, we're very fortunate to have both John and Yuki helping us with this project, and I and the Center for the Study of Languages and Cultures will be working very closely with John and Yuki as we go about implementing this over the next few years. And similarly, we're very fortunate to have the expertise and the experience of some of the Georgetown departments, as well as some of the departments that don't have much area expertise in these areas, who will be sort of following through with this project anew, as we will be. So I think this interinstitutional collaboration is a very important part of all of this, as is the expectation that we will result, or this project will result in some sort of a structural template that is sort of an empty framework within which other institutions, other departments, both locally and externally, can then go about implementing their own form of outcomes assessment. With that, I'd just like to open up the floor to questions. We're a little bit over time, so please, if you have something you'd like to inquire about, don't hesitate. I still plan to break at 6 o'clock for the reception, so we won't hold you in this format too long. But any questions that you might have, please. And we won't do this formally. Please.
I had a question, because you brought up precisely the need for everyone to be on board, even at the larger level, especially our leading institutions such as MLA and so on. Do you have any sense of why the MLA has not been more proactive or has not been more on board, considering that Georgetown, I guess, has been doing this for 10, 11 years, and it's not that this just popped up a month ago. But I mean, there is, in all three presentations, we saw considerable research showing the necessity of engaging in this type of assessment.
I can give you a particular take, but it's my take on why the MLA is not able to move forward. Having said that, I do have to put a little bit of a caveat. It has nothing to do with assessment, but just the report that on language learning that the MLA was able to produce after I don't know how much time. I've come out quite critical towards that report in a commentary about the Modern Language Journal, but the fact that they did it, I think, is of very great value to the profession. So there was some movement, some recognition of that. It's very simple. The MLA type, I guess I'm part of it, is a full professor in literature or theory or whatever in one of the departments. And quite frankly, most of them do not see any reason whatever to engage in that. There is just no reason for it. It's not the 10,000 members of the MLA, but it's the ones who are the most sort of influential members, who are setting the tone. This might be changing because, I mean, it's just to close the eyes to this is, I think, intellectually dishonest. And I think even at some point, even those guys are going to have to face up to that fact. But it's not there yet, and it's unfortunate.
So does that then go back to what you were talking about, this bifurcation that you had, that you attempted to eliminate in your program, this old conceptual model split between language and literature?
Yes. As long as, this is why I'm particularly concerned. I understand that most of the departments here would be, or many undergraduate departments only, but think of where the people who are teaching in these departments come from. They come from graduate programs. And my criticism of graduate programs is that they don't, they're the most recalcitrant to actually understand some of these things, and it's the most destructive, or potentially destructive for the profession, because they are educating their graduate students in a way of thinking about the profession that is inappropriate. In the state of Texas, the next year, 60% of all students enrolled